truth is, people are just doing them wrong. I think this is the core of today's conversation is like people are just screwing it up. They're way overdoing, way over analyzing because we want this, like we want bots in a way. I think people want bots to be this extreme. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Bots in Business. I'm your host, Travis Stephenson, and as always, joined by Trent.
Good to be here.
You got it. And today, in this episode, we're going to be talking about the truth about bots. I've had a good run lately of speaking on a podcast and talking to a couple people about bots, and the topic just kind of came up that there's a lot that needs to be discussed around the truth of what's actually taking place. So if we look back 6 years ago, we got the ability to start doing bots, making these campaigns and automations, and the entire industry blew up. You weren't working for me at the time.
When
they first started. Yeah.
No.
So everybody hopped on this bandwagon. Oh my gosh, you could do bots. You can make bots, and this is great.
And this is specifically for Messenger, but are you talking like just
specifically for Messenger? 6 years ago, this came out, and everybody was like pumped because you can make bots now. And what happened was, at the beginning, they wanted mass adoption. So they had the 24-hour rule that we have right now, which those of you guys who aren't familiar, there's a rule that Messenger applies to their API, which is how you can make bots. And that rule is you cannot send a message, a solicitation message, through the API or through automation if the user's last interaction was over 24 hours ago. So they call it a 24-hour rule. It just means that you can't send messages.
You can't marketing specific.
But even still, there are something called tags where this gets way too technical, but you technically can use what's called a human agent tag, which would allow you to send a message to someone, but that would have to be through like a live chat. It wouldn't be like an automation. So imagine bots are in a sense a sequence or some sort of automation. Human agent tag is like a real human person going through. Yep. So big differences there. But 6 years ago, these come out, and they didn't give the 24-hour rule. They were just like, you can do whatever you want. So technically, people were building Messenger lists of subscribers in Messenger, and then they were also broadcasting to those lists without any care whatsoever. Yeah. They could just broadcast literally every day. And there's a couple of big brands I know that like ClickFunnels was one of them that I had subscribed to. And dude, it was like every other day I was getting a broadcast from them. And it's like, I didn't respond forever. And then I noticed Tony Robbins was doing it and like a bunch of big names. And I'm not throwing these guys under the bus. I'm sure that deep down they were just using it.
That's because the idea at first was, okay, hey, this is like a new email sort of.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's where all these, like, everybody started comparing email to Messenger, and then, oh, look, this gets 98% opens. And it's like, yeah, it does. But I kind of saw this coming. And I also, in the documentation, they were pretty clear that, like, this isn't going to be this way forever. They kind of hinted that they would take away the ability to broadcast, send messages forever. And they kind of still left the capability in something that is called the one-time. It's a one-time notification, or OTN. You can use that. We don't really suggest it. A lot of people who use it abuse it because here's the funny thing. The one-time notification allows people to send a broadcast to a mass group of people, even if they are outside of the 24-hour window. However, it stipulates that it's supposed to be for a, let's say, in-stock notification.
So a non-promotional.
It can still be promotional.
I guess that is promotional.
But it's something that they're directly signing up for.
Yeah.
And they're telling you, I want to be notified of this. What people were doing was making a sequence, and at the bottom of every sequence, they'd be like, hey, sign up for this one-time notification, and I'll notify you of future stuff. And it's like, so what you're doing is you're basically using that one-time notification to cheat the system so that you can in the future send a broadcast. That's not what it's made for. It's not intended for that. And so I've noticed a lot of people getting shut down, a lot of people getting hit hard with this because they're not using it right. So I don't even use it. We didn't build it in a Chatmatic. I just think it's way better if you can automate this. If you could have a widget on your website that allowed you to take advantage of the OTN, that's different. Where it's like somebody's on your website.
But why not just send a sponsored message?
Oh, because now you can do it in broadcast to a very specific niche of people. Let's say you own an e-commerce store and you have shirts in large, but they're sold out. You could hit a messenger widget that says, hey, notify me in Messenger when this is back in stock. That would trigger an OTN token, right? So a token that allows Chatmatic to say, hey, when Shopify says this item is back in stock, send this message to these people, right? So that's a broadcast. Doesn't matter if it's a week, a month, a year, you'd be able to send that out into their inbox.
Okay.
That's cool functionality.
Yeah.
But when you build it into a sequence and you allow people to like gamify OTN, so like, hey, if you want to get access to this, click this, allow me, one-time notifications. And so now what you're doing is every time somebody clicks that, you get this ability to broadcast to them outside the 24 hours. So it's kind of shady. But going back again, 6 years ago, we get this ability to make these bots. Everybody's building their list. They're using it to broadcast. Everybody lost sight of what bots were supposed to be, which is automated way of communication. A great way, one of the most powerful ways to market your business is through these, what we call assessment funnels. We've covered it in some of these other ones where we talked about hyper-segmentation in some of our podcasts. Assessment funnels, when somebody comes in, ask them questions like a doctor would. Like, I just think that's such a funny thing. Like if you walked into a doctor's office and they were like, hey, here's this medicine. It's like, whoa, hold up.
So you don't even know what's wrong with
you
it.
didn't ask me a single question. How do you know I need that medicine? What if I'm allergic to it? Like, we would think that's crazy.
For a physical.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm just dropping off lunch. What is going on? If we did doctor's visits the same way we do marketing, in a lot of ways, which actually topic for another day, but that kind of is how it's going in a lot of ways. Like marketing is sort of leading the way when it comes to what we're being prescribed in a lot of senses. But
true.
If we did medicine the same way we did marketing, people would think that's crazy. But for whatever reason, nobody's flipping it the other way. Nobody's ever saying, well, what if we added a little bit of medicine science to our marketing? Oh, I would get more accurate outcomes, therefore being able to supply people with an answer that they actually want.
And quickly.
Yeah, and in one format. There's no like, it's automated. There's no, hey, let me get somebody on the phone for you. Let me get this. Oh, hey, schedule a call, which, I mean, now with the way that we move fast pace, scheduling a call is like one of the more difficult things to do with people because everybody's got like days full of stuff. And in so much so, in fact, I just saw this and I thought this was crazy. Guy that I really respect, Alex Hormozy, was doing this interview, and he mentioned like how much of a waste of time it is, how much time women on average waste making and preparing and cleaning food, like cleaning up after food. He said it's like 10 hours a week. And he's like, everybody in the world is complaining about the fact that they don't have enough time. And on average, women spend 10 hours a week preparing food and 3 hours a week going to the grocery store. So he's like, that's 13 hours a week. You're talking every month. That's a full work week. That's 40 hours that you're spending making and preparing food.
I mean, what's just get
the alternative
food?
Is like buy prepackaged meals, microwave it.
Okay.
But I hate that there's no discussion of a trade-off there. What are the health benefits?
Yeah.
Also, what's the value that you get when you put love and time into food? You get better food, 100%.
Absolutely.
Taste is better.
I don't know if I totally agree with just like, okay, let's just go.
Well, you can't look at everything as being replaceable.
Yeah.
As a one-to-one. It's not one-to-one. Yes, every hour is an hour of your life, but it's not like I could say, oh, well, that food is equally as good as this food and the feelings we get as a family and, all this stuff. I will say if you're saying average woman lives by herself, doesn't have kids, okay, now I'm understanding the situation a little bit better where like maybe she doesn't need to spend that much time, but like
average man, like
right, exactly.
Like if I cook food, it's gonna take
average
me a while.
solo man was probably spending the same amount of time, but the stat was about women in particular. And I said, that to me is not a trade-off. There's no way that I can see that as being, okay, yeah, you should totally trade that time for this. Like the value of food, in my opinion, is so high. Like the nutrient density of it. When you microwave stuff, it doesn't taste the same.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it. You could pay a chef to do your food, and now it's getting prepared. And the whole conversation was, okay, if you run your own business, and let's say you pay yourself $100 an hour, and you're spending 40 hours a week on or 40 hours a month cooking food.
You're missing out on
Basically $4,000 worth of stuff. So find a chef for $2,500. Now you've saved yourself $2,500. It's like, no, or $1,500. Now I've paid somebody $2,500, and also you have to take into account the fact that I like cooking food.
Yeah,
so
I enjoy cooking.
I enjoy cooking food. I get something out of that isn't work related. So and I know he wasn't talking about that in particular, but there is definitely something about this fast-paced life that we're in that now we're even talking about removing cooking food because now we need more time. And it's like I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, I just don't want to be in a world where everything is only about efficiency of time. Because if it's only about efficiency of time, everything you do is shorter, less meaningful. There's less depth to it. It's like, oh, I need to get the most out of every single second that I spend. So on my way to work, I'm doing work. And that was actually one topic. This is off topic, but one thing I had heard about as automated cars come out. This was a really cool philosophy that this guy took me down on this one podcast I was listening to. And he was talking about what's going to happen is people are going to move out of the big cities. As cars become self-driving, they're going to move out of the big cities because now, think about it. A condo in the city is going to cost you $5,000 a month. A condo 45 minutes out of the city is going to cost you $1,000.
Yeah.
You can live the same lifestyle, maybe even have more property. Maybe even have a little bit more like freedom of things to do outside. Mm-hmm. Cost you way less.
Especially in those bigger cities.
Yep. But the problem is, how do I get to work? Because traffic getting into New York City is going to be miserable if you have to do it every single day. 45 minutes turns into an hour and a half, 2 hours. Now it's 4 hours a day you're spending going back and forth. Well, when it's automated time, when it's automated driving, they're talking about, cars, seats will rotate. You can carpool. There'll be Wi-Fi on the cars. And you can literally do work on your way to work. And it's like, if everything's all about efficiency of time, it's like some things are much lower quality. I mean, the food that you're going to eat, if it's all about efficiency, is going to be really bad food. Open a can of beans, eat it, you get sustenance, you're good. That's not the same as making, the other night we made a roast turkey or roast chicken. It was awesome.
I think it's the process of that, sitting down with your family. It's like time.
There's something to that.
That is efficient.
Totally.
Time. That's great time. Like you should have that.
That's the whole argument is I need to get more out of all my time. And so one of the cool things about one of the misconceptions about bots was, oh, now I'm going to replace myself with this automated bot sequence. And then it started getting into, well, bots are robotic. Mm-hmm. They're canned responses. It's this. And so like I kind of fit somewhere in the middle where I'm like, man, I get it, but I don't use bots that way. I don't make the downside with trying to replace everything you're doing with messenger bots and Instagram bots is that it takes you a long time to make these sequences, and because they've got to have every possible outcome pre-thought out. Mm-hmm. I use messenger bots and sequences as a way of assessing and or collecting data, and then getting people to the end result that I wanted them to, which is again now back on a website. I don't need to keep them in Messenger. And in fact, like my whole business is Messenger, obviously, and Instagram and the API. I've never purchased anything inside of Messenger. Never. I don't see anybody really doing it. But a lot of people are focusing on how do we get transactions into Messenger commerce and all this stuff. And it's like, I get it. In fact, our major competitor was talking about Messenger commerce 5 years ago. And yet still it's not widely adopted. I don't know anybody who's really talking about it because you have web views inside of Messenger and DM. So you can actually populate
you just don't need that.
An order page. Yeah, you've already got Shopify. You've already got WooCommerce. You've already got whatever sales machine you're using. Pop your order page.
And you also don't need, I think this is where the robotic, when we're talking about how long it takes, like those super long 100-step sequences with
100%.
A million
8 trillion different bridges.
If I was going through that as a user, I'd be like, dude, I'm done. This is like a spectrum.
Well, that's what everybody talks about.
Update my billing in Spectrum or something. Or
whenever I discuss bots with anybody, we get that same I don't like it. And in fact, I was talking to 2 great marketers last week on their podcast, on the Perpetual Traffic podcast, and they were talking about like, hey, Travis, I'm just going to lay it out for you right away. I'm going to lay it out for you. I hate bots, man. I hate them. I hate the way they make me feel. I hate the roboticness of it, blah, blah. And that's when I was like, man, truth is people are just doing them wrong. I think this is the core of today's conversation is like people are just screwing it up. They're way overdoing, way over analyzing because we want this, like, we want bots in a way, I think. People want bots to be this extreme. And especially because here's the thing. Understanding the rules with Messenger, understanding the rules with Instagram, there's a level of complication to that. It's not as easy as email, where email, it's like once you collect an email, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
With Messenger, it's like there's a 24-hour rule. There's certain restrictions inside of Messenger.
There's
you can and can't do
points.
things. Yeah. So it's like, and then if you have like an m.me link and the person's not a subscriber, it shows the get started button.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a learning curve. So what ended up happening, and I think this was the wave, and I think most people will probably understand this. What was happening was business owners were going, okay, I see there's value in this. This seems like a really cool thing, but I don't have time to learn all this stuff. What do I do? So agency owners and business owners and people who wanted to have a business, they were like, I'll go learn all this stuff and I'll charge other people to do it. And so what happens is now you've got 10,000 salesmen, 10,000 people that now their job is to convince you and you and you and you that messenger bots are the best thing in the world.
Yep.
So we got all this noise of like messenger bots are incredible and look at how crazy this is. But in order to show value, these agencies, the agency owners, did the opposite of what I teach. They massively overcomplicated because they think, hey, if I show you this amazing sequence that has 8,000 things.
Oh my God, that's worth all that.
Yeah,
money.
I'm not going to, I don't want to build that myself. You've already built it. I'll pay you $1,000.
Yep.
It's funny because, and now I guess this has come full circle because this is same guy, Alex Hormozy, posted a piece of content that talked about the best course he ever bought. And he was like, it's $750. I paid $750 for this thing. I get in and it's one training video. And he's like, it was about an hour-long training video. I watched it. I implemented on it. And he's like, I made exponentially more than I paid to be in the course. He's like, and I loved it because I got in. I got the result that I wanted. I didn't have to watch 20 different modules. I didn't have to learn a bunch of different stuff. I got in and I got out. And I think there's something really, really cool about that where, like, okay, let's say you're an agency owner. You want to provide value. Is it more valuable? And this goes back to like, I saw this other clip of this guy who did like a logo, and he was talking about how much to charge for his logo. And the guy was like, well, and he said, my rate is $25,000. And the guy was like, okay, so how long is that going to take you? Like, how many hours are you going to spend on it? And the guy was like, I don't know. I might spend an hour. And he's like, but is that really worth $25,000? And he's like, so what you mean is you want me to spend 3 months doing it. So you're telling me if I spend 3 months doing this logo, it's going to be worth more to you? He was like, well, no, not necessarily. And I said, would it be worth more to you? The guy was like, would it be worth more to you now if I could give it to you next week? Is that not worth something? The expedition of like knowing that you got the best logo possible for your money and you got it faster, isn't that worth more?
And
the guy's like, yeah,
worth more.
That's interesting. And so when it comes to running an agency and when it comes to offering the service, what I've always taught is make it exponentially more simple. Because again, there's still that learning curve of the rules. There's still that learning curve of I don't know exactly what to do. They're still not experts. None of these business owners are experts. So if I come in and I'm like, look, here's this 4-step sequence. And in fact, we have a client that we're working with right now. Was like, hey, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. Can you make a sequence? I'm like, sure. Took me literally 3 minutes. While recording myself, it took me 15 minutes explaining every single step. And it was done.
But that's all you need. Like the shorter, the better. Like get in, like get them in.
Especially like when you start thinking about the little stuff. Like, what are you selling? What do you have? It's like, okay, I want to do this. What exactly do you want to do? Like when you get into the nuance of what Messenger and Instagram can do, let's say it's Instagram. When you actually dig deep as an agency or as an individual, somebody who works with us, we do the same thing. Hey, Travis, I want a sequence. Okay, what are you promoting? Got a guy right now, big name in the space, hit me up yesterday. Travis, can I get the bot going? Sure. What do you want it to do? Like, you just want me to click a button and then all of a sudden it's like it just does everything you want it to do? I have no idea what you want it to do.
Well, I think where these get a little bit more robust and where an agency owner can really come in is like to do conditions. Like, did they give an email? No,
sure.
They didn't. Well, reach back out to them an hour, try to get the
add
email.
more things to it.
Add an email.
Like almost supplementing on a basic sequence.
Yeah, you could have a simple 2 to maybe 4-step, core of the sequence. But really where you can add some stuff.
Well, then also, like as an agency owner, understanding all the entry points to be able to say, hey, that thing that you did, like one of the things that I do that adds value to most of the businesses that we work with, I'll go to them. I'll see they make a post on Instagram. and they'll be like great example. One of the people that we're working with sells a cookbook, does all these cooking things, has a blog, monetizes the blog. And she was doing stories and she said, ask me anything. And somebody had asked her, hey, do you have a newsletter? And so she put the little sticker, because now Instagram only has stickers.
Yeah.
Put the sticker, and it was like not a pretty looking link. And it was like, yeah, I do have a newsletter, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, here you go. And I was like, what we need to do is just make a sequence where you can say, hey, DM me VIP
or
to get on my newsletter,
whatever, yeah.
and you're set. She was like, I love that idea. And it's like, that's what you want an agency owner for, is to be able to say, I'm looking at your business right now and evaluating where you need it. But I got the guy who I mentioned, big name in the space, who was like, hey, I want my bot. Can we get it going this week? Sure. But I would have to go through questions. How do you want it to work? How are you going to drive people into it? In your mind, how are you going to drive people into it? Well, how can I? Well, you can do DMs. You can run ads. Okay, so you're going to run ads? Okay, cool. Now I'm starting to mold my decision-making tree of what I can actually do for you. Okay, so you want an ad? So now I know how the message works. Do you want to collect email? Do you want to collect SMS? Do you do anything with those? Like, if once you give me those, okay, cool. Now, what are you going to promote at the end? What's the end result for this? Are you trying to assess whether or not somebody's good for your coaching program, or do you want to sign them up for a webinar? They're two different sequences
100%.
Completely. So, like, as soon as I know that, now we can, you want to sign them up for the webinar? Do you have a coaching program? You do? So why not this? 20 hours later, we'll ask, did you watch the webinar? Yes, you did. Okay, now go fill out this questionnaire for my coaching program.
Schedule a call.
And now I'm taking advantage of the 24-hour rule, but I'm also not like, this is where people get it complicated. Well, why don't you just schedule the call inside the bot? Why?
Why you don't?
I've already got a calendar that everybody is very familiar with using, that it'll pop up in the window and it'll say, hey, schedule your call, enter your information. Well, that's an additional step. They have to enter their information. Yes, but like, we've been doing it that way for decades. Most people still only do it that way. And I think that literally is an excuse people use. Well, I already have their information in Messenger, so why would I make them retype it? Because you're going to have them type it anyways.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's like you're going to
okay.
Oh, but you mean to tell me you're running ads right now and you're making them type it in that ad, but because I already have the information, it's not good because
like if somebody goes through a whole sequence, right? 20 hours later, they're like, oh, I really want to book this call. And they click on that, button that opens up that. They're not going to be like, oh God, I got to fill out my stuff again. Like,
I got to write my name
I'm
down
not
again.
doing this. You know what? I don't even want the call.
No, it's like, no, you wanted the call. So now just hang with us, type your information in, and we're good to go. So this is where the core of today's message is really like, don't overcomplicate what bots are supposed to be. I like simple. Here's the biggest thing that I try to remind people of is Messenger sequences, Instagram sequences. It's just the best version of a landing page you've ever had. I have never had a sequence, and you're here to vouch. I was just putting together my new presentation for Chatmatic yesterday, and you saw some of the screenshots I was showing. Multiple of my sequences have done over 93% email opt-in.
Well, we had that percentage where it was like 88% was like the lowest, like 88 plus.
I've not seen anything under.
Rate. Have you ever had a landing page that's done that?
I've never had a landing page that's gotten anywhere close to 80%, and that's with like my warm audience. That's with me emailing. You're talking 65%, and it only lasts for a short period of time.
Oh. Because
as soon as you start to because now you send more people through. And now it's like, okay, some people have already signed up or whatever, so the opt-in starts to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say 65% is definitely going to be the top. Now, here's another funny stat. People who give email, in one of my sequences, I had a sequence where it was like, hey, give me your email. And then the very next step was give me your phone number. At that step, I had 100% opt-in.
That was the contest one, right?
From people giving me their email who also gave me their phone number. And that's just ridiculous. Like, I don't know of anything that puts that at 100%. And here's the cool fact. Back in my CPA days, they used to pay, and they still do. It's called CPL offers, cost per lead offers, where if you give somebody like a zip code, you can get like 50 cents, right? If you just get somebody to type a zip code, because then after they type the zip code, it'll ask them for their information, and they know on average, out of every 10 people that give a zip code, one will give a lead. So whatever. Yeah. It's just an easy way to drive traffic for us because we get 50 cents every zip code. Well, if it was name and email, you'd usually get paid anywhere between $2.50 and $4.50. For a phone number, it would less than half the conversion rate, and you'd be able to get like $6 to $8 a lead. Imagine if you had what we had then, now, like, and you could actually send them the information as you're collecting it. If I'm getting 100% email to mobile, I would absolutely dominate. I'd make significantly more money, and it would have been so much more easy. So it's just one of those things like, man, the opt-in rate of what we do in our system is phenomenal. But again, I don't use Messenger, and maybe like, I guess I used to look at this as a weakness. Now I look at it as a strength. I don't use Messenger as or Instagram DM. I don't use the DM automations the same way that a lot of my agency competitors do. They're like, we got to do everything in Messenger and do all this stuff and blah blah blah. It's like I use it as like a
reactive too. Like you're being way more proactive in your like.
When I make sequences,
in the way you make, where they're like, well, you know, what if they type support? What if they type help? Like, we need to make all these different
have
sequences.
All those things, like, and then have a way that somebody could start all the way over again, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, that's you trying to remove all essence of human touch. Mm-hmm. I like the ability of being like, oh, well, Travis, what happens if we get a lot of messages and of people messaging outside the bot? So you mean having more conversations with your customers? That sounds like a good thing.
I think. Like having those more complicated ones and having it start over and trying to eliminate the human touch is going to really turn people off. I mean, we're just literally talking about 100% essentially the whole time. It's like if I go to a business and they give me a quick 3-step, 4-step sequence to get me right to what I want, I'm like, that was dope. Yeah, that was great. Right. Like I'll go through that 10 times out of 10. But then you're just trying to like put me in a loop and give me all these different things.
Here's a good example.
I hate that company now. Like, I don't want to work with them.
I think this would work because we've had the conversation. There's a restaurant here. During COVID, what ended up happening was there's a lot of restaurants that made it to where it was like scan code menu and you order and you literally don't see a waiter or waitress. Somebody comes by and drops your food off and they're gone.
It's just...
Imagine this scenario. Now, you walk up to the front door of the restaurant and you fill out a short questionnaire. How many people are in your party? Would you like to sit at the bar? Are you inside or outside? The same questions people ask at the front. I wouldn't mind automating that part of the process and getting back my server. You know what I mean? So like this is a full example of like the super complicated bots are the people who are like, we're going to do a questionnaire on the way in and then also make you order online when you get to your table.
But you can only order like one thing at a time. You're paying for
it.
It's
and it's like then everybody's now you're complicated because it's like now the ordering process is crazy. It's like if I am hosting the order or if I'm the first one to order, I've got to give you a scan code on my thing so that you can scan and add it to my bill. And it's like this is freaking nuts. But my version of bots is on the way in. I ask them the questions that automate a process that like is dummy information anyways. Yeah. Then I get them to the table. Nobody's going to be upset with that part of the process being automated. Like, I don't know of a single person that'd be like, yeah, I want to talk to the person at the front desk. No, the people we want to talk to, and this is where it becomes, this is like actually a really good example the more I think of it. We were at this restaurant that does this order process last week, and I forget what it was exactly. They were missing something or we wanted something different. We were ordering for my son, and we wanted to order him cucumbers because he loves cucumbers. But the item on the menu was spicy cucumbers. And we were like, I wonder if they can make it without the spicy.
Yeah.
But no server came over. So we don't know if it's pre-made. So we can't order it and then like, hey, can you make it not spicy? Because now we have to pay for it no matter what. And
like there's people that'll come by and give you your stuff, but no, it's not just
they don't
one
stop.
person.
They're like, boom, boom, bang, boom.
It's like, who am I even asking for this?
But then I'd also have to wait for randomly for somebody to come by, but because I'm not ordering, they're not going to come to my table. So it's like, I don't know, like I'm waiting to order to see if I can get this information. So that is what, in my opinion, is ruining the industry of bots is like you're trying to automate the wrong part of the process. You're trying to automate so much of it that it takes away the normalcy that we like. So for an example, that extending that example, had they asked me on the way in, which there was a person on the way in, they reversed it. There was a person on the way in, how many people in your party will get you listed at your table. That's stuff that like if they had a little iPad and I could just fill it out, boom, 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 done. Now I'm on a wait list. We'll text you when it's ready. Bang. That's actually probably a $100 million business model right there. Yeah. The waiting list thing. And I'll take a check for anybody who makes that if you guys do.
Like 5%.
Yeah, just I mean, heck, a percent. I'll be happy, but I'm not greedy, you know. But my bots are the way in. I assess, I get information, and then, okay, cool. Now I know how to get you to the right table that you want. Now, once you're at the table that you want, I want your normal eating experience to feel the same.
I like that
I
example.
want the waiter to come to the table. I want to ask them questions. Another great example, the restaurant we were at had Topo Chico on the menu, but apparently they were out of Topo Chico, which is a travesty, by the way.
So you had put in the order,
and we were like, but it kept removing itself from our cart. So we were like, what's going on? We didn't know until we ordered something. Then somebody came over and we were like, are you guys out of Topo? And they were like, yeah. We're like, okay, that makes sense. Had they relied on server who comes to the table as soon as we sit down, hey, can I get you guys anything? Sure, I'd like a Topo Chico. Oh, sorry, we're out. Makes my experience significantly better.
You've gone to previously, obviously. So you're familiar with this. Now, if you're going to a brand new restaurant, like I like to kind of ask, hey, what's good? What's the most popular
thing? What do you
like?
Yeah.
Just to kind of get
especially
some information.
One that like what is this what I think it is? The description, like sometimes, and I think this is funny, some restaurant menus do not describe the food the way that it comes out. They don't do a very good job. And in fact, there's a restaurant around us called Rooster and Till that when the way they describe their food is, in my opinion, unless you're really affluent with or you're really fluent with the terms used on the menu, you might not know what this is going to come out being. Like they'll be like, oh, it's this kind of like this meat, and you're like, in my mind I'm not picturing anything good, but then they're like, oh, it's like wrapped in a ravioli and it's freaking amazing, and it's like, oh yeah, I would have ordered that for sure had I known.
Or you go to Bar Taco and you get like 2 tacos thinking that's going to be enough.
Yeah, they're not like, this tacos, they're
they're
this.
Normally,
exactly. It's like having somebody there to help you through that part of the process, in my opinion, is just that's good business. 99% of the bots that I see out there are trying to automate the inbound and the actual ordering process, and it's too much. That's the way that I look at it. Again, I could be wrong. No. Am I doing these order processes for Pepsi and things like that? No. Of course, they're going to want more of that automation level because they're scaling to millions of people a day.
Yeah.
That's a different process, but that's the cool thing. When you're a little bit smaller, doing 100 orders a day, you don't need that level of scale. You don't need that level of automation, and people don't expect that level of automation. When my wife walks into a boutique clothing store, she expects more hands-on treatment than she does when she goes into Whole Foods.
Yeah.
It's different. Like, you want hands-on when you're shopping with local, small, individual, especially like coaching businesses. The people that I see that are trying to automate the entire inbound of their coaching business, you're missing the entire point. People are paying you in your coaching program. They're paying you for access to you, and you're removing you all throughout the entire process.
It's a huge turnoff.
Yeah,
right
it's like,
there.
okay,
It's like,
yes, you might be able to do that. You might be able to get some.
Am I not going to see this guy at all? Like, what am I paying this
right,
money
and
for?
then it's like too robotic. No, I didn't want that. Start over. No, I didn't want that. Start over. It's like, dude, get what you need from them. Make it easy to be able to give them what they are looking for, and that's what I use bots for. And I think that needs to be a big thing.
I think that restaurant example is spot on.
I really think now it makes sense because I've never thought about it on the way in. That part of the process is just kind of. It's pointless.
You don't need
right, but they need to know where to place me, right?
Yeah.
So of course to them that information is valuable. So we as consumers, we don't mind giving them that information, but it's something that could absolutely be automated. And what's funny is they have an app where you can put in how many people you're seating.
Which I prefer to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, check in, boom.
But then you still have to go to the front desk, let them know you're there. Why not automate that piece of the process?
Yeah.
Like you totally could.
Just have
and
like
again,
an iPad, check in.
Yeah,
boom.
nobody would be upset with that. And especially have 2 iPads at the front, and now they have a one single door when you walk in this one particular restaurant, and then it's like a little tiny little walkway. It always gets packed, and especially in the summertime when it's really hot, everybody's trying to get inside because there's air conditioning. Yeah. Have 2 iPads, one outside, one inside. People are filling out their waiting list, and they go about their business. Now they're getting their text. As soon as the table's ready, it goes in the system, text so-and-so, bang. All automated, and nobody's going to be upset. Hey, I'd like to speak with somebody about, this. Of course, are there going to be nuances where somebody's like, hey, I've got a wheelchair. This wasn't listed here. Of course, you could build that into the check-in process. I need 1 booster seat. I need 1 high chair.
Yep.
You could build that in, and that would actually speed things up and automate it. I just think that most people are losing touch on the real human connection by using bots, and I don't like that. I don't again, if you're getting way more DMs because you're using Instagram or Messenger DMs as a way of doing, your business, we're working with clients that like specifically rely on DMs to build their business, but they've never been able to automate part of the process before. Now they can actually build a list and automate some of that inbound questionable, question information or whatever. And that's huge.
As somebody who like is interested in their business and goes to DM them, they want that answer.
Yeah, I think that's another big misconception.
If it's going to take 48 hours for your VA to get back to me and your VA is just sitting there copying and pasting the same thing, it's the same message.
Another example about that is the man behind the camera. We used him as an example. He's got a business, photography, videography business, and one of the examples that I gave him was really resonated with me that I think would make sense with everybody. It's like somebody's on Instagram looking up videographer in Tampa. They find his page. They DM him, "Yo, I like your stuff. Can I get more information?" He doesn't respond for 2 days because he's busy doing stuff, work. Guess what that person's doing immediately after not getting a response?
Well, they're going back on.
They're going to go back and look for somebody else and DM somebody else. And then by the time he actually gets back, "Hey, sorry, I already got a quote from so-and-so. I went with them." Decisions happen that fast. And a lot of people look, "Oh, Travis, I don't want to be robotic. I want to have the human touch." Your customers don't care. They want right now. The reason they're DMing you, and think about it, anybody that you DM, you're DMing them because you want right now.
Yeah, I don't want.
If you wanted tomorrow, you'd email them, send them a letter.
Well, I think this goes back to the gym example that we used to use all the time too.
100%.
If you're going to a new
easy.
city and you want to drop into a gym, you're probably not going to be at that city. I mean, maybe.
And you're not messaging them 2 weeks prior. "Hey, we're going to be in town 2 weeks from now."
No, it's like, "I'm in town. What are your guys' hours?"
Yep.
It's like, or what's your drop-in rate or whatever it may be. It's like that can be automated and that should be.
I've talked about this because we did this ourselves. My wife and I, we've got kids. We need to find out, can we drop in and can we bring our kids? That's a big thing for us because if we can't, if you don't allow drop-ins, then I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to go to the next one. So what ended up happening, we went to New York City one time. We did this. I messaged like 5 pages. I kid you not. The first page that responded with a positive on the things that I had questions about, I was there. After I went to that gym, day after, I was actually out of the city at this point. One of the other companies, one of the ones that I messaged first, messaged me back, was like, "Hey, yeah, you can drop in. You can totally bring your kids. We're all good." I'm like, "Dude, sorry, but I'm not even in town anymore."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, we missed you." So this like, "Oh, well, I want the human connection." You can still have that. Don't automate the server. Automate the inbound, at least a part of it, right? "Oh, but Travis, I want to be able to help my customers." Cool. Ask them, like when they message you right away, we have something in Chatmatic called an auto response. When they message you, "Hey, thank you so much for messaging me. We obviously check our DMs pretty frequently, but we're not here right at this moment, potentially. Here's a couple of options below.
Yep.
If you want a human, just hit human." And then even in Chatmatic, you could have it hit human and then have it send you a text message being, "Hey, there's somebody in your DMs right now. Go hit them up." Mm-hmm. Now you're getting a real human in faster. You're actually making that human touch more worthy of actually being able to get you a sale by using an automation, though. That's the thing. Again, I think that's like, that needs to be its own video. We got to clip that. The intro to the restaurant and then the server, like, that's one of the best analogies for this entire process. And I think that's my process in a nutshell, is so many people are afraid of automating the entry into the restaurant because they're in their mind, it's automating the server. That's in their mind. They're forgetting there's 2 points of the process. There's two elements. There's, let's get them a response fast to something that should be and could be automated. And then when the human is needed, let's make sure that's possible.
Yep.
It's very simple because, "Oh, I want to check my DMs." Go right ahead. I actually suggest it. I bet you, using my system, having the automation in place, you will actually get more business when you use the personal touch afterwards. Because now you're actually talking to people. "Hey, what was your question?" "Well, I was just curious," and this happened before. One of the stores that we worked with, a guy messaged the brand on Instagram, "Hey, I've got $280 in my cart right now. I was trying to figure out, it says free shipping over 50. My cart isn't showing free shipping. I just wanted to figure out, do I get free shipping?" The guy did not buy because nobody responded to him. If we had some automation, human agent, text message, person in the DMs within 5 minutes, hey, thank you so much. Use code Canada Free to get free shipping to Canada.
Even if in that situation it took a human 3 hours to get back to him, even in that situation, at least he got something immediate. Yep. Like at least he got something that's like, oh, okay, wait, well they'll get back to me soon. So even
right away, like, okay, at least I know somebody's going to check into this versus like I haven't heard back from them for hours.
It's like I
don't know if they're going to get back. Auto response is an easy way to win on the way to using bots. Auto response in Messenger and in Instagram. Messenger also has the get started button, which you can do a lot of things with. It's called a welcome message inside of our platform. But that would then be more of that's more of a responsive thing. So that's more like somebody actually DMs your page. You want to be able to be there and be responsive. Most of what we do separates into the two sides. It's proactive and reactive. Proactive is you're building your business. Reactive is you're saving your business. You're managing that business. You can do both of those through automation. I just really think people need to focus on what can I do in my business to find out. And an example that I made the other day, I made a campaign that did this. There was a grill. It got marketed to me on Instagram. And it's a fold flat grill for people who do like camping and stuff. And I went to their website and I found their website has a single person grill and a 2-person grill. What if in a single person is just this big, doubles this big, can cook 2 big steaks. The single person is like enough for like a little mug of water and stuff, and then like 2 skewers, right? So if you're that company and you sell that grill, wouldn't it make a lot of sense to immediately ask, do you do a lot of cooking for 2 people when you're out? Or would you rather a lighter single person grill? Instantly, the rest of your marketing can now be driven towards what they are actually looking for and what they're actually going to use. Whereas what's funny is the ad promoted the 2-person, but it didn't say a 2-person grill. It was just a picture of the grill. But when I looked at it afterwards, it was a 2-person. What if the person only wants 1? What if the reason they're not buying is because they just don't need to carry an 8-pound grill for themselves?
Like, well, I just kind of want
I'll carry the 4-pound for a single. That makes more sense. It's just giving them the excuse to buy by figuring out what they want. Now, the lunatics out there building sequences, they'd be like, well, once we get that information, we'll build the order process into the Messenger sequence and into the Instagram sequence. We'll do all this crazy stuff and blah, 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 and order notifications. And yeah, some of that stuff's cool. But why not just say, hey, you want the 1 person? Boom. Here's a link to my Shopify store that I've already built that already has all the description and information on it. And there's a pixel, so maybe there's a little bit of a value to a retargeting aspect there. But just give them the link to now go order the thing. Like, why are we overcomplicating this stuff? Why are we making this absolutely ridiculous when it comes to like, because it can be, and that's the thing.
It makes it seem like, okay, I'm worth more as a
and
agency owner.
Again, that's the big piece. Is like most of the people that you're seeing elaborate sequences from, they're agency owners and they want to look cool. Sorry, agency owners, you don't need the massive sequence.
You absolutely do.
Of course, you're going to have sequences that have what I would call like a bridge or a split where, you know, maybe you're doing a real estate agent one and it's like, hey, are you an investor? Are you trying to, list homes? Are you trying to find buyers? Whatever. Like you might have a sequence that branches off into a bunch of different things and then it has a couple of questions.
We've definitely created some more robust ones, but there was a point.
There was a reason to it. Yeah. Like the plastic surgery one where it was like, they tell you, oh, I want, like a facelift. There's like 4 different kinds of facelifts. So it's like, okay, so now which kind of facelift are you looking for? Okay, well, for that process, there's 3 different ways we can do it. Okay, so for that process, there's 2 reasons you might want it. Like, so then you have one leg of this bridge turns into a long questionnaire. But it all starts with like the very simple binary question of like, are you cooking for 1 person or 2? What sort of plastic surgery are you into? Like something to let you know about them. Then at any point, if they fall off, get the manual person in there.
Yep.
Do automatic follow-ups. Like,
hey, I see you were looking for a facelift, but maybe you don't know what the different
kind of thing is. Yeah. So it's like we've tried to automate as much as we can. We got you in. You've got a lead now, and you can follow up with them forever. Versus not getting any information, sending them over to a landing page, and now you know nothing about that person, and the only way you get them back is if you spend more money. So I hope, if nothing else, that the point of what I want you guys to take out of this episode is don't overthink, don't overcomplicate, and don't misconstrue the point of what these Messenger and Instagram sequences are for. Collect the data that you want. Give the person the outcome that they want. Another just last second example would be like health and fitness. Are you looking to lose weight? Yes or no? Somebody says no. Okay. Are you looking to gain muscle? Yes. Boom. Here's the thing for you. You are looking to lose weight? How much weight would you like to lose? Between 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. Okay, what time frame would you like to lose that in? 30 days? Unrealistic. You want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days? Not happening, bro. It's like the answer to that one should just be like, stop eating. That's it. Run for 4 hours a day and stop eating.
No, there's no longevity in that way.
But give the people what they want by assessing them on the way in. And then even here's what's cool. What if at the end of that sequence, even that health one, okay, great. I'm going to send a text message to my team now. They're going to let me know to come talk to you. Now I'm going to personally come in and assess you. It's the same thing.
And now you know, hey, this person's coming in for weight loss. They want to lose 5 pounds in 60 days.
Again, going back to the doctor example, actually, you know what like hybriding the restaurant example with the doctor example. You go to the doctor's office, a nurse comes in and asks you questions, writes it on a chart, puts the chart outside the door. The doctor comes in, reads the chart. Okay, I got my information. Why not just ask me that information on an iPad? Where does it hurt? What is it? Let me fill out my own information. Now the doctor's got my information in real time. So I've automated the inbound assessment part with all the same information getting to the doctor. Now, granted, I don't mind speaking to a nurse, but it's just another example of like, instead of having to automate the entire process of now you're automating the doctor, which is the complicated piece. You're not automating that. You're automating the piece of information collection to be able to give the person the outcome that they want. You absolutely should use these things because now you're getting enhanced retargeting. You're building a list with every single thing that you do. You're getting information about your users. You're giving them the solution that they actually want. Chatmatic being a perfect example. Chatmatic, we have multiple different types of users. We have users that run an agency and we have users that want to use it for themselves. I could ask the very simple question. Are you looking to use Chatmatic for your own business or to build an agency?
So, because
it's totally different marketing afterwards. Like, hey, we have an unlimited agency package. The single person who wants to use it for one page doesn't care about our agency package.
It's like, hey, here's a $97 a month.
Yeah, and here's some free training on how to get your first 1,000 leads.
Yeah.
The agency doesn't necessarily need that stuff. So I think that using it to segment, give people the solution that they want is the big key. So hopefully you guys take that out. Now, we want to start ending these episodes with a little bit of interesting banter. So I've got a question. We're going to do this one with a would you rather. So Trent, would you rather have telekinesis, which is the ability to read somebody's mind, to be able to move things with your mind. Telekinesis, you can move things with your mind.
Okay.
Or telepathy, the ability to read someone's mind. We should cue the Jeopardy music. Telepathy.
I think
so you would rather be able to read someone's mind.
I think reading people's mind.
Where does that take you?
I think
he's just thinking about girls.
Helps you with everything. Like me? Helps you in life. But maybe you don't want to read people's minds. Maybe they're thinking like negative shit about you or stuff.
Yeah, but also think about that. The what women want, that is all about him being able to read women's minds. And at one, he ends up wanting to get rid of it.
But it's like, okay, if I could move stuff with my mind, I can move anything with my mind.
You are a Jedi, bro. Because
then you probably get paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah. Hey, I need this tractor over there. Done.
Wait a second.
$100. Yeah, I think totally. I'd rather be able to move things with my mind.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to like practicality, you can do a lot more with that.
But reading minds, here's the cool thing. You get in a room with the best stock trader in the world, and he's not telling you what he's doing, but you can read his mind. You know what he's doing. Now you're hacking, the trading world. You're hacking.
Yeah, there's definitely, from a business perspective,
I instantly go to money. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like wired that way.
I'm thinking of money.
I instantly think, what's going to make me the most money? And granted, I think being able to move things with my mind would make me like money way easier because I can just be like, look, I know you guys need to move that over there.
I think I may have to stick with my original decision.
Reading minds.
I think reading minds, it just sounds more fascinating.
But it's an optional mind reading. It's not like when you're around people, you're hearing all their thoughts.
Yeah, I don't want to be doing that. I'm not God.
Would just be screwed up. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, I think I don't know. I'm torn. I like the ability to read minds. I think that would be really cool. I mean, now you're Professor Xavier, right? Like that's an X-Man, and look, he doesn't turn out so well, but he's in a wheelchair.
It's an interesting question. I mean, it's very fascinating.
I would rather move things with my mind, just because
I respect that.
The ease of being able to go somewhere and be like, hey, these things are all heavy. Like, I mean, think about how far can you move it? Is it only within your own vision?
I would imagine it would have to be within your own vision.
Because, like, could I pick up a ship that's out there anchored by LA and move it over to a Florida port that's empty? I mean, technically you could if you were in a boat or
maybe
a train.
Maybe you would
like
have to see a picture. I don't know, because you would have to
because now we're getting into a different X-Men character. Yeah. That guy I know you could lift everything because you just lift it with your mind. But that guy, there's an X-Men character who has a tail. He's like the blue dude, and if he can picture where it is, he does a little like poof, poof, and he can appear in that spot.
Okay.
So almost same thing like that. Like if I can see where I'm sending the thing in my mind, does it like poof, poof, in that, and now it's in that new spot, or am I only moving it like pillow?
Yeah, I'm just imagining like you can lift anything, but you can lift it where you can see. But
I still feel like that's going to be the trait that like I think I'd make more money faster with the reading minds, but I just feel like that probably starts to weigh on you.
But it would definitely weigh on you, because what if it's like you meet somebody really messed up?
I know.
You're like, oh my God, you killed a person?
Yeah, but then you could actually work for the FBI, and like now I read minds. It's like, oh, prove it. Got it. Gotcha.
Yeah,
we're good. Or would you do it secretly? Because now you can go into big rooms with people that don't know that you can read minds, and you're like, oh, I know what he's actually doing.
Because that stuff gets out, and then no one's gonna really want to hang out with you.
You know what you could be? You would be like the Leonardo DiCaprio in his character in Inception, where he gets paid by all these underground corporations and be like, yo, you're gonna go work for this company, and I want you to figure out what that CEO is thinking. Oh, you'd make millions of dollars doing that. Like,
that'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, that'd be sick, dude.
Just incepting people's
but
minds.
Now, if I can move things with my mind, now
you're picking me up and tossing me down.
Yeah, now nobody can mess with you. Yeah. And you can like think about it. You would be able to like, I was thinking about like my house, obviously just getting done being built. People had to manually pick up the blocks and add them to the spot and do all that. Like you're now doing that with your mind. So you could literally build a house, the majority of a house in a day by just going, okay, that's there, boom.
Because then, I mean, would you still be like hammering?
Somebody would probably still have to do that stuff. But I mean, you're moving things with your mind. Do I only get one item? Yeah, how multitask are you? Are you like this? What was that movie, like the Cinderella or whatever, when they're like doing the dishes and all that other stuff's going on, and it's like they're like bouncing, and it's like Mary Poppins or whatever it is. It's one of those Disney movies where they're like doing the dishes on their own and stuff. It's like
Beauty and the Beast, right?
Maybe that's it. Yeah. But those are the actual fork and knife moving. I don't know. That's a tough one, man. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna switch my. I'm going telepathy.
Yeah,
I feel like reading the mind is just huge.
But again, there's an on and off switch. I don't want to be reading people's mind all the time.
But I don't find myself ever like. That's the funny thing. I don't ever find myself going, man, I wish I knew what that dude was thinking. I do find myself going, man, I wish I didn't have to get up to get that remote. You know, like
True.
There's way more times that I'm like, oh, my phone's all the way over there. Oh. Yeah, exactly.
Nice
like, oh
easy.
no, come here. And then think about like at every party, you're like, oh, you want me to get you a drink? No problem.
Oh, you can't get that keg up the stairs? I gotcha.
Oh, I can reach everything up top. Yeah, like I think there's benefit, but then you'd get lazy, like turning water faucets on and stuff when you don't need to. It's just like
a fat person because you never have to lift anything.
I mean, I would still you'd turn it off, you know?
Yeah.
You'd plug that chip off, and I think it's an interesting conversation. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. Are you telekinesis or are you telepathy? I'd love to know. And how did we do on our guests?
That was a good podcast, though. I like that.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We want to do all of this. We want to be able to cover all the misconceptions that are around bots. We want to prove to you that, at the end of the day, my thesis right now is that every single business, at least 20% of their traffic should be going into a sequence or be coming from a sequence that is built in a platform like ours using some sort of automated DM sequence. Because if you're driving traffic into a sequence like this, everything becomes list building. And if everything becomes list building, you're going to make more money. And it also puts your business in a position where you're going to be more like solid from a foundational perspective. Like you're never going to have an issue with like, oh, our ad account got shut down. We're not making any money. Now it's like, okay, well, we'll make some money while we build our list.
But just an important note, he didn't say 100%.
No, at least 20%.
You don't want to send all of your traffic there. It's like, that's not what we're saying.
I know some people who have done, like they're not sending enough traffic to like really expand, but all their traffic that they are sending is coming through Messenger or some sort of a DM sequence, which I don't hate on. Like when I was building the agency at first, one of the things that we did was I ran ads to get agency clients that were all through Messenger because that was the only funnel that I had. That's fine. But if you're like really scaling up, if you're an e-commerce company, I'm not saying that you should run every single ad through a DM sequence, but I would definitely think about getting 15 to 20 to 30% of your ad budget going into a DM sequence so that you can collect a list. And now you're list building on the way in, not on the way out. There's tons of benefits to that. But hopefully you guys enjoy this sort of breakdown of some of the common misconceptions. If we missed something that you guys think is super important, we'll cover it in another one. Let us know in the comments. Make sure that you guys leave us a review, only of the 5-star kind. Anything less than 5 stars, go leave it on somebody else's podcast. You can say it was from us. But yeah, I just found out actually, we are one of the top 100 podcasts on iTunes in Denmark.
That's kind of cool.
Some dude just sent me an email. I was like, hey, you're one of the top 100 on iTunes in the business category.
Nice.
We did it.
Hey.
Guys, we did it.
That's something.
Thank you.
This
it's all
is just
because of
the
you.
Start, really.
The 3 people that listen.
I mean, we're
because
only
to be
like
a top 10,
5 episodes in.
A top 100 in Denmark, the 99th podcast gets like 8 listens, so like we're not exactly skyrocketing here, but I'd love to be in the top 100 in the US. You guys got to help me make that happen. You got to listen, you got to share, please. Sharing is literally the number one most important thing. Reviews are huge. Sharing is the single most important thing you can do. Share moments from this podcast, record clips if you want, film little reels, I don't care, whatever it is. Share this stuff. If you find anything valuable, because that's the best way we can spread the news. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you soon.